Hello everyone, welcome into my craft space. Today is a really exciting day because today I also get to welcome you to day 3 of the A to Z of Christmas Craft collaboration event hosted by RachandBella Crafts, and a huge thank you to Rachel of RachandBella Crafts for inviting me along into this fun collaboration event. All of the information for the collaborators and all of the amazing YouTubers will be posted in the links below, so definitely check them out. If you've missed A and B, don't worry, you can go check those out. You don't have to work them in order or feel like you're late or anything like that. This collaboration is going to go on all month, so plenty of chance to see all of the videos, catch up, work along, however you're doing it. Just do it because these ladies are amazing, and I'm so honored to be a part of this collaboration. So today I get to represent letter C, and I thought about all the things that I could do to present to you letter C. I thought about Christmas, Christmas tree, Christmas craft, collaboration, like all of it. But really the best thing that defines me is collage. So today I'm going to take you on a collaging journey, and hopefully it represents Christmas well. So for my project, I'm going to be using the Christmas Past, a vintage journal kit, which is a new Christmas digital by RachandBella Crafts, of course. It is beautiful. All of these pages in here, I've already started playing with it just a little bit, are so amazing. So if you don't feel like you're very good at collage, you don't have to be to use this kit. This kit already has some things started out for you. And honestly, the hardest part for me when I first started working with these beautiful digitals was getting over their beauty and being willing to tear them and rip them to do collage. But I'm so glad that I did, because the projects that come out of this are absolutely stunning. So these are just some of the papers from the kit. And a collage is a great way. I usually like to do it at the end of my bookmaking because it really helps me use up all the little scraps and bits and pieces, and is a way that I can kind of pull it all together and find my desk underneath all of the stuff that starts to build up when you are making a journal or a book or even cards and crafts. So it is a great way to use up little scraps and bits, and these are just some of the pages that we're going to be playing with today. So we will be tearing them. Sometimes when I print out my digitals, I'll get some misprints like this one. I made it too big, so this page is pretty much cut off on the side there, but don't worry, I can still use this. It's still beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and tear this up and put it in part of our collage. So as I'm working along with this collaboration, I'm going to be making a journal. And so I'm going to be using a vintage Reader's Digest. This one I believe is from 1977. Absolutely gorgeous book. I love the cover. I love the colors. Yeah, 1977 is this book. So I'm going to be gutting this book, and then I'm going to show you guys today what to do with the collage that we're going to put together. So we'll set that aside. I'll do some future videos on how my book is going and how it's turning out. And if you're following along with the collaboration, hopefully you will have some fun as well. Okay, so today to get started, I like to use a piece of cardstock to collage on, but you can collage on anything that you have. Scraps of paper, scrapbook paper, maybe you don't like the design on one side or whatever. Feel free to use that. You can use cardstock, you can use anything, you guys. You can use boxes and books and things that would be recycled, anything like that. I do caution you to use kind of a medium weight, because you don't want it to get too thick or too bulky that it's not going to fit in your book or your pockets, or whatever it is you're planning to do with it. Now, if you're planning to just collage and hang up a collage, you want a decor piece, use flat back canvas. I love using flat back canvas panels. I get these ones all the time from the Dollar Tree. These come in a 3-pack. This is a 4x6 size, and you get 3 of them. You can also order these online from like Blick Art or wherever you can find canvas panels, and they are perfect for collage. I use them on my book covers all of the time. But for today's purpose, we're going to go ahead and use some cardstock. This is a little thicker cardstock, but it's not too thick. I don't know the weight of it, I'm sorry. So we're going to choose one side that we want to be the back of our projects when we cut it apart. That's right, I said we're going to cut it apart. Don't worry, I'll show you how to do that at the end. Usually I use this side as the back because it's a good side to journal on or whatever, but I think the stripes are going to really match everything we've got going on today. So we're going to go ahead and go with that. So this will be the part that we are starting our collage on. Hopefully you can see it with the contrast of that green there. Once we start adding some things to it, it will show up way better. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So when I start my collages, I usually, if it's a wild pattern like this one, I usually like to start with some book page and cover some of those things up so that I am just working with a kind of a more neutral thing to look at. The patterns don't throw me off. So, you know, any of those book page scraps that you have laying around, definitely use those. I also need to mention that adhesive is very individual. I like to use my clear gel tacky glue. You can use a glue stick, you can use Mod Podge, you can just kind of gloss over the whole thing and then stick things down. However you feel is best for you and your project, do that. Sometimes it is noteworthy to say that some of the more vintage papers that are super, super thin, you have to be really careful when gluing those. So just be mindful of using a glue stick with those, or with adhesive tape, like double-sided tape. That doesn't work so well with collage because then you have all these flippy flaps at the end. So if you plan to use something like a double-sided tape or what have you, definitely plan to do something to seal it over the top, like some Mod Podge or some watered down Elmer's glue or school glue, to kind of seal it all in and put all of those little flaps to stick them down. All right, so normally I start with book page and I just cover the whole surface with book page, but because we have all these beautiful papers with this music in the background, I'm gonna go ahead and start with that. Now you could just glue this down in the background, just like so, and be good to go. Now the page that I'm starting with is an 8x8 size. I don't know if I mentioned that already or not, but we are gonna go ahead and tear this because that is how I do collage best. Now all of the pieces that you tear, you can ink the edges if you'd like. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do the inking at the end. I'll put in some even some watercolor or some paint, or just, I think the beauty of collage is that you can just feel free to do whatever inspires you at the moment. And you can just have fun. When I do collage, I notice I work a lot from the edges first and kind of work either around or I work my way in. I tried to do one purposely, intentionally starting in the center and working outwards, and I find myself still migrating to the edges. So let yourself the freedom to work however it is you feel most comfortable working. You can put things upside down, you can put things layering over each other, whatever works best. This first layer is just a base layer. It's gonna cover up some things, and that's okay. We just want to put something down on the paper to get us going. It's kind of like that when you're staring at a white canvas. It's a little intimidating at first. So we just want to put something down there as a base layer, kind of not necessarily a primer, but it kind of acts as a primer. So I'm just going to add a lot of glue here and really press things down. I do sometimes tend to leave the edges a little bit loose at first, so that way if I want to overlap things, I can. And here I'm just trying to get things to cover the edge there. And we'll just go ahead and smear this down. And like I said, this one, you know, we might put it going this other way. I'm gonna do this one because it's a little more flat on the edge there. Use those flat edges to cover up the sides. We'll put this one up in the corner. Now I know some people are a little afraid of collage, and don't let it intimidate you. It's supposed to just be fun and relaxing. Some people get a little worried and stressed out about where do things go? How do you know where to place things? How will I know where it's supposed to go or where it looks right? It's okay. Just take a deep breath, and the pieces don't have a home until you give them a home. So just let it happen naturally. Have fun with it. And once you start placing the pieces down, it just kind of becomes like a puzzle that you have to put back together. I used to love puzzles as a little girl. I kind of still like them as an adult. So, you know, you don't necessarily have to make them all, see how these are like overlapping and intersecting. That's okay. They just kind of fit there. And I just had the urge to place them there. All right, so here is a couple of pieces of book page, and we're just going to fit this in here. Again, this layer is just acting as a base layer to get us a background that is not just cardstock. So the whole purpose of the collage is to just provide some interest. And the reason we tear it up at the end is because we're not going to tear it all up per se. We're going to make tags and journal cards. And on this one, I'm also going to make an end page. So you'll see that at the very beginning of my book, I'm going to make the collage piece be an end page there. So I'll show you that once we get a little closer. Well, let's see. We've got just a few spots left to cover and we'll be all good to go. So this is an important part of the collage. You can kind of skip it by using like using some of the collage sheets that come with your kit. You can just kind of glue that down as a whole collage piece if you want to. It's kind of cheating a little bit, but you know, there's really no rules. You can just do whatever speaks to you and whatever you feel is best for your project. No, I don't want that one there. I want it to go over here. And I find sometimes when I am watching people collage, I start thinking, oh, that one would look really pretty to the left or to the right or down below or whatever. And you know what that means? That means you are perfectly ready to make your own collage. That is a great sign that you are ready to take on one of these projects. And if the thought of making a bigger one kind of frightens you or whatever, make a 6x6 size, make an 8x8 size. Whatever size you start with is perfect. Just start somewhere. And like I said, I find that it is really fun to work one of these after I have made a journal because then I have all kinds of little bits and pieces that are already torn up that would already be headed for the trash bin. So it is a way to help me use up those scraps. Now this was a little piece of a embossing folder and I used the center of it, but I didn't use the edges. So I saved it so I could have a little piece of texture here. And when you save those extra little things, it makes it really nice for collaging. Now I told you guys there's no rules, but really there are a few guidelines and they're just normal guidelines for visually pleasing art. So a lot of times in collage and just for like photography and painting and whatever, there is like a rule of thirds. So the way that your eye will follow. Now usually the heavier things go to the left, or you should do them in threes. So if I'm putting this piece over here, I should maybe put another piece of it over here somewhere and maybe down below, like try to do it in thirds. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it right here. Now, how did I know to put it right there? I didn't. I just knew I wanted to put it somewhere opposing because red is a pretty strong, deep color, and the eye is gonna go like, you know, it's gonna go, whoa, there's just one, what's going on? So if you give it three things to look at, it's usually a little happier. So we're gonna go ahead and put a piece down here in the corner too. Doesn't mean it's going to stay this big. We can cover over it. A lot of collage is layers. So, you know, what you have on the base layer here right now might not be the end result that you see at the end. And this one didn't get any gold ink, so I've got some gold ink. I'm just going to go ahead and brush it on there like I did this other layer. So it kind of looks like the other ones. And we're just going to keep layering up this collage. So this is our base layer. I did miss a couple pieces here, but that's okay. We'll catch those here in the end. Now, I can use any of those beautiful papers from RachandBella Crafts. There are so many to choose from. And you do have to get over yourself just a little bit and rip them up. Like I said, you'll be super happy that you did. Now this Christmas kit, I'm so excited because it has a lot of poinsettias, and I absolutely love the look of holly and poinsettias. for the holiday season. So I was super excited when I saw that. And I love this. See how it has all this stuff going on in the background here? We could absolutely use that as our background page because it does look a little bit collaged already. Or we can just simply tear off some pieces of it that we might like the most. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and just lift this up just a little bit, and I'm going to put this underneath. So remember how I said I like to keep my edges a little free so that I can layer better. And since I didn't get that corner covered completely down there, I'm going to go ahead and put this in. There we go. And we'll just lay that right back down. Now we're getting somewhere. And I absolutely loved these pieces here that were from that music page. So we're going to find somewhere to fit these in. I think I'm just going to do a piece of it right there. So make sure when you are tearing that you tear things in different shapes and different sizes. Find some of the patterns that you really like and use those. At the end, I'm going to add a little bit of some stamping. And don't be afraid to layer. It's okay if you're covering up some of the things from the bottom, like underneath. It's all part of the process. Okay, what else do we need in here? We need some more color. So let's see what we can find. I do want to use some holly. Maybe we'll just tear out this piece that says holly. And that'll pull in a little bit of the green. I love that paper ripping sound. I don't know what it is, but it is very pleasing. At least to my ears. Okay, and see how as I'm tearing this out, we're making more scraps. That is okay. You'll have something ready for your next project, or maybe we'll use a piece of this somewhere else. Even projects using the scraps still creates scraps. It's just an inevitable part of the craft, I think. All right, so that is fun, and we don't have to make it be perfectly straight. We can put it anywhere that we want. Let's see. I think I'm just going to go ahead and layer it right here. And we'll go ahead maybe and put a little ink on this one since it has some white edges right there. Oops. And once we get closer to the end, you can add stencils, you can add spray stains, you can add oxide sprays, all kinds of fun things to this collage. You can allow it to be a little bit more mixed media. If you don't have those things or aren't into those things, you can just leave it as a collage as well. All right, I also like to keep some kind of a wet wipe around. When you're putting on this many layers of things, it does get kind of gluey, sticky. So it's nice to be able to wipe off your hands as you go along. Let's see, I had a Santa here that's kind of peeking from the edge. There he is. And I think we'll go ahead and maybe put him at the top right there. That would be kind of cute. Just let him peek out from the top. And when some people do these master boards, they have a focal point and that kind of thing. If you're keeping your collage whole, I feel like that is definitely beneficial. If you're going to break it down into smaller pieces and do, you know, separate things for it, not just one big piece, then I don't really feel like that is something that's absolutely necessary. So if you have one and that gives you, you know, encouragement to get going or get started, or, you know, it helps you with the theme of your project or whatever, then definitely use one. There's no rules that says you can't, but it's not necessary. So if you can't figure out what the focal point is, don't worry about it. Okay, I like that Santa right there. I'm just gonna go ahead and put him in. Now remember, he may not stay all in one piece. We'll just have to see how it works out. Oops. All right, and we'll seal those edges down at the end here. Let's see, what else do we have that we can use? I had this piece starts to say Merry Christmas, and I do kind of like that. I might go ahead and put that somewhere. Maybe we'll put it right there. You don't get to see the whole word, but it is implied. We'll just lift this little guy up right here and just kind of layer it right in there. Now see, I didn't give a lot of thought to where it was going. I just knew that I wanted to put it somewhere else in there. And let's see, what other fun elements did Rachel give us to play with? Here is some fun poinsettias. I think I might use a piece of that right up there in the corner. Just get a little pop of red there. Now, depending on the way that you tear, you're going to get a white edge or a not white edge. If you are pulling a piece towards you, you'll get this white edge. If you rip away from you, so push it down, you don't get that white edge. So it just kind of depends. If you are using ink, don't worry about it because ink will cover it up no matter which way you tear. All right, let's see how this looks up there. I think that is going to look great. And just glue it up there. Let's see, I want to see a little piece of that Merry Christmas underneath. Now I thought I wanted these poinsettias in the corner. We could always just put them somewhere else. Oh, right there actually I think looks really pretty. We're gonna go for it. And I'm gonna go ahead and ink these edges gold. You can use any color of ink, like I said, or you don't have to use any at all. If you don't care about the white edges or any of the inking, that's totally fine. This will also kind of break up a little bit of the Christmas paper that we put down, so it's not all that you see. We want to see a little bit of it, but we don't want it to be all that we see. Maybe we can put some of this holly up there, a little piece of florals, add some green. Yeah, I like that for sure. Now see how this is just the tiniest piece of paper here? Tiniest little scrap. Still comes into good use, adds that pop of color that I'm looking for. Adds some fun interest there. And then we still might want to add some more of that greenery somewhere else. Maybe a little piece right here. And I'm just going to tear around this. I might wind up making it a little shorter, we'll see, or a little different. We'll just see here. And just put in a little pop of this right there, I think. It does cover up a little bit of our Santa, but that's okay. And that's getting a little sticky to lift, but I'm going to go ahead and put it down there. And this does cover up a little bit of our Santa, but again, that's just part of the process. And so let's add a piece down here. So we've got a green, and we'll put a green at the bottom. And those letters are upside down, but that's okay. Just adds to some of the interest. See that A down there? It's upside down. Doesn't matter. If you don't like that, you can take the littlest piece of scrap right there and just cover over it. We'll put in some music notes right over that A. Okay, there we go. I feel like we need something up there. Let's go ahead and do that one's kind of a big piece. We'll have to see if I feel like it fits up there or not. We can also just add in a piece of this one. And if you like this, you can, and you know, you can always let it hang over, because once everything's dried, you can trim it off, no worries. So don't let the anything like that block your creativity. You can always trim things out later. And it's funny, when I go into these projects, I kind of have a plan in mind, but I never really have a complete visual in my head of what I want it to look like. I just kind of let it evolve, and it will. Even if you think, gee, my creativity, my process doesn't really work like that, it will. Trust me, it will. I'm gonna go ahead and tear this one so I don't have this straight edge. All right, so I've cut a good chunk of the collage making process out of the video just for time's sake. I will maybe after this collaboration post another video which has the full thing. I just didn't want to make this an hour-long video, and collage can sometimes allow the time to just completely slip by you without even realizing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just trim off any of the excess edges back here. And then we'll go ahead and add some stamping and maybe some sprays. And then we'll cut it apart. All right, so there is our beautiful collage. I'm gonna go ahead and ink around the edges just because I've got some white edges up here. That with some ink because it's an embossing folder. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use some of these stamps that I've got from Hero Arts. these are some of my favorite stamps lately. They were from a Hero Arts subscription club. Not sure what the name of them is, but they do have a lot of sayings that I like. Happy Holidays, Peace on Earth, Winter Wishes, and they've got a cute little snowman. And this one, these little words say peace, love, and joy. There's a Merry Christmas. So it just has a little bit of everything. And I, of course, have this cute little poinsettia. So I'm going to stamp a few of those around. And maybe some of this holly. And what else do we want? I don't know. Maybe some of this as well. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up so we can save a little time on the video. Okay, so that adds some of our stamps. You can, of course, add embossing if you'd like to emboss some stamps on there. You can add more stamps. You can add some sayings. You can do whatever appeals to you. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of some oxide spray. You can do paint drops, like you can get your paintbrush and just kind of drip some drops on there. And this one is Rustic Wilderness. All right, there we go. I can see how it's going to spray now. I'm going to go ahead and blot that up just because. There we go. Just do a little spritz. Okay, and I know some people might not like these little drops and drips, but I think it gives it a great vintage look. And if you have too much in an area, this is water reactive ink, so you can blot it down. And remember, a lot of it is going to be covered over anyways, so we might not see everything as it's appearing right here. And a splatter box is a good thing if you are doing these sprays, because the splatter does get everywhere. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut this apart. All right, so some fun things to do with the masterboard is you can make some journaling cards, you can make some tags, but I am going to cut a piece of it here so that it will fit on the end page of my book. So I want it to go right in here and be one of the first things you see when you open my book. And I might, when I'm done, go ahead and make another one for the other, the end page at the end. And so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this down to size, and we'll see what it looks like once we get it in the book. All right, so as you can see, this is going to be the end page of my book. I think it goes beautifully with the vintage pattern here that is on the Reader's Digest book. So the other portion of our masterboard, we're going to go ahead and cut into tags. I will caution you that while it's still drying, it might be just a little bit difficult to cut, so keep that in mind. And let's see what we have left here. We could do... A good tag size is like, I don't know, 3 or 2.5 inches wide. So just kind of see what you are working with here. This one looks like it is almost 3.5 inches wide. That's what we've got left, and we have by 8. So we could make 2 that are just 3x4s and just simply cut them down. I don't know if I want them that square though. You can also use a die cutter and die cut them out. You can use a template and cut them out that way. Let's see, I just had an idea. I have a tag here and we can just cut around it. So let's do that. I have one that's like that size. I have this one's kind of a fun one. It's got a scallop at the top and the bottom. And then any scraps that you have from your masterboard, you can save to make another one, or just to use little bits and pieces here and there. So this one, not quite that way here. And see, like this little piece here, I might just save it and use it on a page edge. Whoops, this little piece right here. Let's bring it back in where we normally are. There we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this right out. Now, if you have a hard time cutting up your masterboards because we just spent all this time collaging it, turn them over. Turn it on the back side and just cut around the pattern that you're trying to cut out, and that way you won't be so worried about cutting the design. And then I'm telling you, once you get your pieces cut, you will like the end result. It's so fun. You get to see whatever your collage produces. Usually I can get 3 or 4 pieces out of one collage, but I've never used it as an end page before, so that will be fun. So we could even glue this on the back if we wanted it red. Cute, cute, cute. Look how fun that is. We got some really great pieces. We could punch the hole, make it a tag. Let's see, this one I might just leave as a journaling card, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this end off where I cut that tag out. Let's see. So now we can use this piece just to kind of decorate the edge of somewhere, or maybe even a little tuck spot. Oops, let's cut it down a little more even there. Got kind of one piece that is not even. There we go. So there is a cute little journaling card, and we have this on the back, so we could even put a photo here if we wanted to, and put it in the pockets of one of our pages in our journal. Okay, so let's see. I will put a picture of the completed masterboard here at the end. So this is what we created. We've got our end page, we've got a journaling card, and we have a tag, all out of one little 8x8 collage masterboard. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you will follow along with the collaboration. Again, thank you so much to RachandBella Crafts for hosting this amazing event and including me. And if you guys like this video, give it a big thumbs up, like and subscribe. I'm happy to have you here and happy that you have come to my page. Check out all of those other makers in the description box below, and definitely go to their channels, show them some love, follow along with the collaboration, see what they're making, see how they're using this beautiful kit. I know I'm looking forward to it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.